Do, 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 do! I figure a little fanfare is in order because, yeah, that's right, I'm playing my Dark Elves, baby. 2,500 points, a respectable army size Dark Elves. I have very few proxies on the board. I've got paint on almost all my models, and heck, some of the models are actually even done, and I'm happy with how they're looking. The hobby is coming along, and I'm loving it. In addition, I'm balancing out doing hobby time with painting a nursery, because if you don't know, my wife and I have our son coming in August, like 2 months away. His name's Grayson. I think he's going to play Wood Elves, but who knows? Maybe he could go Dwarves. It's got to be one of those two I've decided for him. But I've been balancing life and Warhammer pretty well. The only thing I'm falling behind on is actually playing games. Go figure. I hope to get some more games in, and now that I've been playing my Dark Elves and they're really starting to come along as an army, I'm pretty excited. So in this case, my buddy Ivor came over. He normally plays High Elves or the Empire, and we didn't really want to throw down a High Elf match right away because that's a pretty big throwdown. You know, there's some bad blood there if you don't know. So I figured, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing with this army. He opted to go play the Ogre Kingdoms. That's always fun. It's fun to slice up some fatties, and they're going to hopefully be able to shrug off a lot of Strength 3 from Ivor's perspective. So I think it'll be a good fight. Let's get it on. Okay, so here's what the Dark Elves have on our side. I've got a group, so these pictures are after Vanguard movement. So you can see up front I got a group of Dark Riders that have Vanguarded. I've got a Master BSB on a Dark Pegasus flying around. Now, I probably shouldn't have made him a BSB in hindsight. There was really no need because I want him out War Machine hunting and getting ready for flank charges. I kitted him up with a Lance, so he's got super high strength on the charge. You know, the Dark Pegasus gives him, I think, that extra wound. And then he's got the Cloak of Twilight, so he's got a 3-up ward save versus shooting and magic. And he's got D3 wounds. Killing Blow doesn't really matter, but D3 wounds on the charge. So that's pretty great versus Ogres. I think he'll be a very good asset. At least that was the plan. In the back, I have a Reaper Bolt Thrower, 5 Cold One Knights. I have a level 4 Supreme Sorceress as my general. She's rocking the Lore of Shadow because you're playing Dark Elves. Shadow. And got some decent spells in there. I think I have a slide to go through them later. But no, I actually don't have a slide for that. I have Occams, the Withering, Melkoths, and something else. I don't remember. But she's standing in a bunker of Dark Shards, 20 of them. And I gave her a Dispel Scroll. I didn't give her the Sacrificial Dagger or anything like that because, you know, I want to shoot. Like, I'm in love with shooting. I need a shooting army, so I don't want to be killing my own crossbows just to cast spells. So I figure hopefully this will work out. Continuing down the line, I have a Charybdis because I figured it would be pretty nice. Weapon skill 5, right? There might be a decent chance with his high strength and you know, with good weapon skill versus Ogres that he could maybe hit with all of them and then get his extra D6 strength 7 hits. I think that could be kind of cool. Yeah, his Thunder Stomps and stuff are wasted, but he's also fairly cheap. So, you know, coming from playing Vampire accounts, it's nice to not have to pay like 300 points for a monster. And he's on a really small base. Next to him, a Cold One Chariot. I love me some Chariots. Reaper Bolt Thrower, number 2 in the back. Then, oh baby, one of the main reasons I picked Dark Elves, Witches. I have 23 Witches with the Cauldron of Blood. If you're not familiar, the Cauldron of Blood adds in about 15 Witches, so it's in Horde formation right now, and it's a Chariot in there. It's giving him a 5-up ward save. It gives him Frenzy. There is you can't take the Cauldron without having a hero up there, so I've got a Hag, just a normal Hag up there with Witch Brew, so they're all going to have their 1 attack plus another attack for extra hand weapons, plus another attack for Frenzy, and then the Super Frenzy from the Witch Brew, 4 attacks each. That's going to be awesome. And then I've got impact hits from the Cauldron and a 5-up ward save. I think that unit's going to be great. Hopefully I can get into combat. Next, another reason to take Dark Elves, I have Doomfire Warlocks already vanguarded up front. And as you can see in this picture, I have made a horrible mistake and vanguarded right in front of those lead belchers. Not even paying attention. I was so worried about all the aspects of the army that I don't even know what I'm doing. I just walked them right in front of lead belchers. That's terrible. I have a second group of Doomfire Warlocks that are being proxied for some Hex Wraiths right there. Then 5 Shades. My opponent deployed pretty evenly all the way across the board. He knew I had Shades, so I couldn't scout behind him at all. So they were just right there to hopefully shoot at that Saber Tusk. Then finally a Medusa. I wanted to try her. She's cheap. Yeah, she sucks, and she's not going to be near the general, so she's frenzied and they'll be running off. But I put her over here because I don't really care where she goes. She's few points, and she's got that Blood Rack Stare. That's an initiative test, no armor save. So if I can get anywhere near those Mournfang, and tie him up or get in the flank and scream, or else she's not really a screamer, but you know what I mean. That could do some good. Otherwise, she's kind of just chaff. So she was kind of an early drop. Don't really care about her. So that's what I got. I think it's a little MSU style, with the exception of addition of a big old block of witches, but we'll see what we can do. What do the Ogres have? The Ogres have a Saber Tusk, 3 Mournfang, all armored up, no great weapons, so they have higher armor. A second Saber Tusk, Lead Belchers that are just looking at those Doomfire Warlocks with a gleam in their eye, because they're going to get to shoot the hell out of them. I love Lead Belchers, and I think they're going to be perfect against T3 Elves. Then a gigantic block of 9 Man-Eaters. Woo, that's going to be tough. Man-Eaters are rough. The dudes in the front have extra hand weapons for more attacks, and all the guys behind them in the other 2 rows have great weapons, so that they can, get their supporting attacks and still wreck face. Next to them, a block of Ogres with the Slaughtermaster level 4 on Heavens, who has Grut's Sickle, and then a BSB in there as well. Then next to them, a big group of Iron Guts, about the same size, it looks like 9, with his level 1 in there. Level 1 is paying the Butcher tax, so he's on the lore of the Great Maw, and has a Dispel Scroll. Third Saber Tusk, and finally an Iron Blaster to round it out. Here's what the board looks like. Foolishly vanguarded, but we're ready to go. Ogres get the first roll, or get the roll to go first, and I knew this. Just like the other Vanguard I screwed up, I moved right in front of a Sinister Statue. In fact, I even placed that Sinister Statue, totally forgetting about it. So we roll, I'm within 6 inches, it shoots me, it lands 4 wounds. Thankfully, I was able to armor save 3. But yuck, that's bad, I gotta get away from that thing. Ogres declare a charge. They charge on my Dark, what the hell are those things called? Dark Riders. I flee, and I'm just like within millimeters so that the Saber Tusk can also charge me, forces me to flee through my own guys. I'm fine with all the panics, but I'm kind of out of position now, and then he's got 2 failed charges. The Saber Tusk over here just saves my ass, I'm telling you. Declares a charge on my Doomfire Warlocks. He doesn't really know what they can do, and he kind of wanted to tie him up so I couldn't get behind him, but this is great. He made a mistake, and he admitted that. He's like, I should have just shot at him. Yes, he should have just shot at them. Instead, now I get to be protected from shooting, and I will easily kill this thing. His other Saber Tusk moves up to block and kind of get in front of these Doomfire Warlocks. You can't really block them because they're fast cav, and then he turns around. And I was like, why are you doing that? He's like, I don't want you to charge me, but this way, like, you have to engage me, or I'm just going to charge you. And I'm like, oh, that's actually a pretty cool idea. But I think he didn't realize that my Shades have repeater crossbows, so I'm just going to shoot him. Otherwise, he moves up here toward the middle. Mournfang are trying to close toward the middle and smash some elves. Lead Belcher's doing the same. They march because they can't shoot. And then we go to magic. It's 10 dice to 6. He uses Grut's Sickle. If you're not familiar, Grut's Sickle does 1 wound to the unit, and your caster has a +2 to cast all spells for the rest of the phase. At the end of the phase, you roll 2 dice. If you get double 1s, the Ogres turn and kill your general. But otherwise, if you don't get double 1s, which like never happens, then you're just a level 6 caster, basically, for the casting, not dispelling. So it's a fantastic item. So he uses that, and he can basically 2 and 3 dice things, and it's going to be painful. So the first spell he targets is Ice Shard Blizzard on my general's unit. -1 leadership, and it's going to be hard for me to shoot. I let it go. He's not in range to shoot right now anyway, and I'm not afraid about the leadership. And he 2 diced and got a pretty good roll. Next, he tries Chain Lightning on my Chariot, and I was able to dispel that. He barely gets it off with 4 dice and his Grut's Sickle, and so I felt confident. I threw 3 dice and I got it. Finally, the last spell, he throws Comet, and we're marking the Comet with this Fanatic out there. He throws the Comet down, and I don't have anything to stop it. I think I used all my dice, and he had a huge roll on it too. So it goes off, and this is where he is positioned. So my main plan with the Comet now is I'm just going to have to back up. He wants to come to me. I wanted to go to him, but I'm just going to back up. All right, so we go to shooting. The Charybdis takes 2 wounds from the cannon. It has 5 total, so he's in some trouble, but yeah, he could have been killed outright, so I'm going to call that a win. Other shooting, the Lead Belchers pop 4 witches at long range, and just showing how great Lead Belchers are against elves. They start flying. I'm sorry, they start falling like crazy. We go to close combat. Yeah, I killed the Saber Tusk before it can go. And that's it for the first turn. Go to Dark Elves turn 1. The Cold Ones pass their stupidity test and move up. and I just moved the entire line back away from the Comet. My Master BSB declares a charge on the Saber Tusk. He decides to hold. I think I needed like a 10, but Swift Stride, I make it, and then I just angled to stay. You can kind of see I'm just corner to corner clipping him. This way I can overrun and hopefully stay out of the range of those Iron Guts. That was my plan. I don't need that far to get out of their range. I just need to kill them and go like a couple inches. So I felt pretty confident about it. Otherwise, just show that everything, even the witches, backed up a bit from there because, you know, I don't want them any more forward than the rest of my battle line. We'll try to shoot for a while. The Medusa failed Frenzy and had to charge, and she could technically make it with her 90 degrees before everyone moved, but I failed the charge. So basically, I just moved the Doomfires so that I am out of the line of sight of the Mournfang, as you can see by that arc of visibility there. And if he wants to move up, he's going to have to deal with them. I can shoot him right now, come the magic phase. And then I move the Shades to just be on the side and shoot that Saber Tusk. I don't think that's going to be a problem for me. During magic, we go to my magic phase. First thing, Comet goes off and misses by like an inch, inch and a half on everyone because I backed up, so I felt good about that. Magic phase is only 4 dice to 2, so I've got to kind of pick one spell here because he has a level 4 as well. I go for Doombolt. I get it off. I get 3 wounds from the Doombolt, and I had a double, so the lore attribute goes off, and I actually got 2 wounds from that lore attribute with its strength 1 or 2, whatever it is. So that was nice. Did 5 wounds there. Unexpected and nice. During shooting, I'm scared for my Charybdis, so I take I don't multi-shot. I just take 2 shots straight up, needing 5s on that Iron Blaster, and I miss with both of them. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably not a good target for me to be shooting at. Hopefully the rest of the Ogres get closer. And my opponent, Ivor, said, yeah, you should just be multi-shotting, man. Just hit Ogres. Ignore that thing. I think he's probably right. The Shades kill the Saber Tusk, and the rest is shooting, and that's basically it for the shooting phase. In close combat, I get the... kill the Saber Tusk immediately, and I overrun 10 inches. So, unfortunately, I went a little... Like, I wanted the sweet spot of, like, 7, so I would be out of the line of sight, but could still charge him. I can't see him right now, so I'm going to have to take a turn. He could turn to shoot me. I got a 3 at board save. I guess I'd probably prefer that, but he's probably going to be able to take the Charybdis. So, you win some, you lose some. And at this time, pizza arrives, so we took a break to eat a little bit, but this is the end of the entire turn 1. We go to Ogre's turn 2. No charges. He just moves up. The Mournfang on this side, they move up and move their entire distance marching, and the Lead Belchers just move and make a wheel so that they can shoot. That could be painful. They didn't march, so they will be able to shoot. We go to Magic Phase. It's 5 dice to 4. He uses Grut's Sickle again. So he's a level 6 again. He got 2 dice. He throws Ice Shard Blizzard on the Witches. I don't want this one to go off because they're already at, with Witch Brew, they're at -3 if they want to like restrain from Frenzy. And, you know, I just want the minuses to hit and all that. So I Dispel it. I Dispel it all 4 dice it takes. So now I've got nothing except a Dispel Scroll. Next, he throws the Comet out again. And he uses 3 die. And I don't really want to use my scroll on that. I feel like, okay, I probably can't back up out of it, but it's probably not going to do that much damage, so I'm just going to let it go. So I let it go, and we'll see if it goes off and kills me. And that's the end of his magic phase. And I remind him, sir, you need to roll. I need you to roll for Grut's Sickle, and for the first time ever in all of our games ever, he rolls double 1s, and the Ogres kill the Slaughtermaster. Let's just savor this. Watch it. Watch it. Oh, yeah. It was awesome. I couldn't have been happier. It was freaking like, you know, it's like, what, 1 out of 36 chance? I think it actually took 36 games for it to finally happen. I couldn't be happier that it's the first game of my Dark Elves, and I don't have to worry about his level 4. I was dancing for joy. Woohoo! Unfortunately, that was short-lived because the cannon took aim and killed the Charybdis. I still think that's a pretty good trade. I would do that all day long, people. Go to Dark Elves turn 2. What do we have here? So enraged by the death of the Charybdis, I fail my restraint check with the witches. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to charge. Who should I charge? Should I charge the Mournfang? If I don't break them, then I'm going to get flank charged by those man-eaters. Should I charge the man-eaters? Well, then if I don't break them, it's going to be... So this is the plan I came up with. I'm in a pickle. I'm going to charge the man-eaters because I'm going to try... Like, my plan is this. Charge forward, and I think I need a 10. Go with the chariot as well. If I make them, yay. Both of them make it. That's good. The Doomfire Warlocks, I could have moved over to chaff up the Mournfang, and I thought, instead of chaffing them, let's just go, baby. Let's do it. I take instead of chaff, let's combat. So I go into the flank and into the rear. Because of where the lead belchers are, I can only like clip with like 3. And unfortunately, maximizing, I had to, like, I'm introducing more attacks, so this sucks. But I think I have a chance at this. I'm hoping to debuff them at least once in the magic phase. That's what I'm all hinging this on. I know it's still a gamble, but I'd rather go out swinging than just try to chaff them up with Doomfire Warlocks. So they make it as well. So now everybody's in, and I'm feeling pretty damn happy about this. Hopefully, it wasn't a bad call. I think... I just want to jump back. Oh yeah, the reason why there's only... So I had forgot to take a picture of this, but the Lead Belchers got 6 hits and killed 3 Doomfire Warlocks last turn, which is expected. Unfortunately, so I only have 2 left to go on the flank. That's why there's only 2 there. I fail Stupidity on my Cold One Knights, and they stumble forward, and they are totally going to get killed by those Iron Guts. Not much I can do about it. But my focus is to the right, so let's win on the right. The Cold Ones will sacrifice themselves for the good of the army. Medusa moves up. She didn't have to worry. There's no one that she could possibly charge. She just moves up, but I can't get close enough to stare, to scream at anyone. That was also part of one of the reasons I wanted to charge. I wasn't going to be able to scream at him, so and try to whittle those Mournfang down. The Shades just go to hide right behind the building because I don't have enough movement to get in the building, so I will just hide behind it so I can't be shot by Lead Belchers and sacrifice the Medusa here, is what I'm thinking. So that's my movement phase. I'm a little worried, but hopefully, I mean, I got all the charges off, so this is what I wanted. We'll see if it makes sense. Go to the magic phase. The comet does not go off, so it juices itself up. It's going to be scarier. It's 9 versus 6. First thing I do is throw out 3 dice on Withering, targeting the Man-Eaters. I'm looking for D3 toughness down. He throws all 6 at it. All 6. Okay, he wants to get the next spell. He's going to try to, he's going to use the scroll on. So I take the rest of my 6 dice, and I decide Bubble Blight. And I get Irresistible Force, Bubble Blight. And this is about the size of it. Yeah, it clipped every single Ogre unit that wasn't a cannon. It's still on the board. They are all -1 strength, -1 toughness. That is really going to seal the deal. That is what I needed on this charge. In the miscast, I lose two Doomfire Warlocks. It doesn't really affect the combat at all because those 2 were out, but I would have, hey, I will trade two Doomfire Warlocks all day for that spell to go off. I feel pretty decent about that. I think that's it for Magic. Go to shooting phase, and it's basically everyone at the Iron Guts because they're debuffed, and they're going to kill my dinosaurs. So, first thing, 2 repeater bolt throwers on the repeating fire. I get 4 wounds from one, 3 wounds from the other. Then the crossbows, who did not march, but they moved up. I think I forgot to mention, they moved up next to the comet. I was like, you know what, it's only going to do so many wounds, let's shoot. And this was another thing I was thinking of when I was going to try to debuff, is that I would try to Bubble Blight, and then if I can get it off, I would be able to shoot. And it went so well for me. It was like, I got 42 shots, I think it was 42 shots, and I guess it was only 40 shots. I got 13 sixes. 13! 6 of those wounded. It's still hard to wound him. He armor saved 1. That's 12 total wounds done to these guys. Just obliterated them with shooting being debuffed. I was very happy. In close combat over here, oh my god, guys, it went so perfect for me. First, the Doomfire Warlocks dish out a couple wounds, and only 1 gets through after armor, and he goes back on me, and there were a lot of wounds that came back on those Doomfire Warlocks, and I just ward saved like a boss. I literally ward saved 75% of all the attacks. I ended up losing 2 Doomfire Warlocks, and because of the flank and doing 1 wound to him, he lost by 1. He would have won if he had just kept that, because he had a Muso, I didn't, and I broke him. He failed his leadership by 1. I broke him. I ran him down, and now that's amazing. Neither of the Doomfire Warlocks made it into combat, unfortunately, so I would have liked their attacks in here, but maybe that was for the best. Maybe we would have just lost that unit anyway. So this is where they ended up. 2 groups of Doomfire Warlocks have just been the MVP so far, and they took out the Mournfang. Granted, they got incredibly lucky with their ward saves, but just amazing. So in the big combat in the middle, impact hits, I roll a 6, and or I roll a 7 on the impact hits from one and a 6 on the other. 11 total wounds from impact hits. It was amazing. Then I get like 1 or 2 wounds from the elves on the chariot and the cold ones. I get like 11 or 12 wounds from the witches themselves. And by the time he's able to swing back at me, there's only those 2 in the front rank left. This is before he swings back. And I ward saved, like, again, I kept my, like, 60-75% of the few wounds he did to my witches. I ward saved a bunch of them. He failed the wound on both of his stomps and breaks, and I can't catch him, unfortunately. I don't catch him off the line with either group. He gets away by 1. The witches immediately hit the Doomfire Warlocks right in front of them, bounce an inch back, and the chariot is an inch behind the Man-Eaters right now. So I'm going to have to... You know, they're under 25% right now, so they're gonna need Snake Eyes to rally, but I'm probably gonna try to push them on my turn because I don't want them to. Hey, you rolled Snake Eyes once this game already, so yeah, those are a lot of points. It's worth chasing them with the chariot, I'm thinking. And a shot at end of turn. That could not have been a better turn for me. It was just amazing, and I am in love with the Dark Elves at this point in the game. We're going to Ogre's turn 3. The guts go into the cold ones, and I have to stick because I'm stupid. You can see them down there in the corner. The freaking Iron Blaster, he manages to find... So it's just bad positioning on my part, on my turn. I had moved that Master on BSB and angled, and I thought, oh yeah, I can see him. He won't be able to get away. Well, he's a chariot. He can just kind of move and pivot all he wants. He just gets out of my charge arc, and I'm like, oh man, that's terrible positioning. I'm the worst Warhammer player ever. And in addition, he's able to like find a line where I can't see his front, but he can shoot my chariot. I was like, oh, son of a gun. So unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose my chariot there, and frickin' Master's not doing anything for me. What else do we got on this turn? The Ogres, next to the Witches, they pass their leadership test and march right past the Witches. They want nothing to do with them from the front, and I can't blame them. They're still debuffed. But yeah, they go right past, and they tuck tails between their legs. The Man-Eaters fail to rally and stay on the board, though. And the Leadbelchers kind of turn. They're just going to shoot up that Medusa. Go to Magic Phase. The Comet goes off this time and hits with a pretty big radius, hitting both the Ogres and my my bunker with my Sorceress in there. 6 wounds to the Ogres because they're debuffed, 7 wounds to me. I fail my panic test, unfortunately, and run from the Ogres. Stayed on the board, but it was a little bit closer than I'd like, and I'm going to have to rally here. I've got a Muso, I think, in there. No, I don't know. Maybe I do. I forget. Anyway, I've got a rally. I've got a good shot. Elves have awesome leadership, but that's a little too scary for me. And the Ogres pass their panic test. During shooting, the Leadbelchers blow up the Medusa. That's okay. The Iron Blaster shoots and thankfully only puts 1 wound on the chariot. So now at this point, I know he's going to die. I'm not going to really be able to stop him in time because I can't charge that stupid thing. So I'm just going to charge the Man-Eaters off the board, try to make sure I get those points. In close combat, I land 2 wounds on the Iron Guts before they get to go, and they easily just wipe them out and overrun. We go to Dark Elves turn 3. Shades go into the building here because I don't want to have a pistol fight with these guys in order to really want to go into combat with them. Even though they have great weapons, don't really want to do that. So I go into the building and I'll shoot from there, but I got hard cover now if they shoot back. The Chariot pushes the Man-Eaters off the board just to make sure I got those points and fails to charge. The Doomfires, both groups come around again. You can see kind of where they are. I'm just going to try to keep the front arc of the Doomfire so I can shoot with whichever one I want and also be able to charge and get into combat if I need. But we're kind of just looping around. The Witches turn around because we've gotten past the Ogres and their Ogre line is now behind us, so we're turning to face them. The Master BSB, you know what? I don't know. I just felt like I'm either going to sit here and turn and play this bullshit game where I just make sure like I've got the biggest arc of visibility on this guy that I can, and then he's going to flee. No, you know what? Screw it. I feel like I'm worried about my Sorceress down there, who rallied, by the way. You can see she turned around. So I just decide, fly him here, and he's going to be better in combat down here. Let that guy shoot all day long. I've already resigned that I'm going to lose the Chariot. And oddly, my opponent doesn't ever think to shoot at the Cauldron of Blood. I'm not really sure why. It has a 4-up ward save, but it would be worth a lot of points to kill that, and it would severely hurt those Witches. Yeah, I think that would have been the target I would have shot for. But so I fly down, and you can see here, astute players can see that I totally did not pay attention to the positioning when I rallied my sorceress in her unit, and I have given my flank to those ogres, and that's really, really bad because they're right there. We go to magic. It's 7 dice to something. I don't remember what he had. Probably 4. I tried to do 3 dice on the withering, and I, on those guts there, and I fail. Fails to go off, unfortunately. So she's done casting. I take their other 4 dice, and I just try to soul blight them, and fails to go off as well. So I just took a magic phase that I could have had. I mean, I wasn't going to kill that unit, but it sucks to have a commanding dice leadership and caster value leadership and just flub it because you can't roll. During shooting the shades, I don't think, maybe they do a wound, but maybe nothing. Not much, if anything. During shooting over here, I end up doing 5 wounds, repeating bolt throwing over here. So even though they're not debuffed, it's still get 5 through, which is pretty good. And I believe that's it for the turn. We go to Ogre's turn 4, and the Sinister Statue, which we all forgot about and are all huddling around, takes 3 shots, misses my single Doomfire Warlock, hits and kills my two-man Doomfire Warlock group, and puts 1 wound on the Ogres. So I'm down to 1 Doomfire Warlock because of that stupid statue. Well, it's probably more accurate to say because of my learning disability. So on our Ogre's turn 4, I get incredibly lucky again. If my ward saves weren't good enough, if my charges weren't good enough, he charges and he goes, I got the flank of your sorceress. I'm like, oh my god, you do, and I can't flee. I measured it. If I fled, I only had 5 inches before I went off the board or something like that. So he charges and he fails. I think he needed a 6 or a 7, and he failed. And I'm like, oh my god, that was awesome. Because you can see where the sorceress is with the black hair there. They're just going to cream her. Oh, I felt very lucky. And thankfully, or I guess not thankfully, the Iron Guts make it into the repeater bolt thrower. But hey, that's okay. If I can keep my sorceress alive, I'll do that all day. We go to Magic Fates. It's 11 dice to 6. He has 1 caster, and all he's got is Troll Guts. He throws 6 dice at it, and I'm able to dispel it with my 6. And that's the Magic Phase. The Iron Blaster gets exactly the 4 wounds he needs to finish off the Chariot. Lead Belchers, they do an about face in a really weird way. Like they didn't reform, but they were able to march and wheel in such a way that their corner can just barely see the last Doomfire Warlock. Like we measured it, we made sure it was just right on par, and he could just barely see him, took long shots, and killed him. I was like, Jesus, that was a perfect shot. No more Doomfire Warlocks, but they definitely earned their points. In close combat, the Iron Guts got an Ogre charge, as if it wasn't enough, and I'm like, okay, I'll just pick him up. And he's like, no, let's roll it to make sure. And these were his impact hits. He only scored 1 for 7, needing 2s? I mean, needing 2s, maybe... No, needing 3s, obviously, because there's 2s there. I had to laugh at him. And then to make things worse, yeah, that's right, the 1 remaining Spirit Elf, bam, puts a wound on one of them. He was the hero of the day, baby. I don't remember what happened to them. Let's not speak of it. We go to Dark Elves turn 4. I fly up the Master BSB right into the front because, hey, I want these Iron Gut points and that level 1 in there. He's going to be a hero. The Witches go right into the rear of these Ogres with the BSB in there, and I feel very confident about that. You can see by my positioning here, I just basically wheel my guys or reform my guys around. I'm still giving them my flank. I don't care because I know what those Witches are going to do there. We go to the Magic Phase. And it's 8 dice to 5. I try to juice up Melkoth's to lower all of those stats that it does by D3. And I throw 3 dice at it. He throws all 5 of his to dispel it, and he does. And then I throw my 5 dice at the Withering on that group because, hey, let's make sure. Let's get their toughness D3 down. And he goes, Dispel Scroll. And I'm like, what would you mean Dispel? Oh my god, the guy with the Dispel Scroll is in there. We're on like the last turn of the game, and like he just hasn't been used because it's always hasn't come up. And I was totally not expecting it. So nothing from the Magic Phase this time, but it was pretty funny. At some point I did some amount of wounds here, but I haven't, just a few wounds one way or the other, didn't end up doing anything. So we go to combat over here, and you know what? Everyone knows how this is going to go. He can't get supporting attacks. He couldn't flee. Oh, let me jump back to show you. The reason he couldn't flee... guess I don't have a good picture of it. Yeah, sorry. So the reason he didn't flee when I charged him in the butt was because if he had gone forward, he would have definitely been in range for me to charge him with my master. I would have double fled him. If he got really unlucky on the distance, he would have gone off the board and not gained anything from it. And I probably would have made my leadership, whatever it is, 9 on the master to just redirect into the Iron Guts where he was going to go anyway. So he made the right choice. Nobody wants witches in their ass, but at least he has a chance here. Unfortunately, that didn't do anything, and I obliterated him and overran past there. In close combat over here, I declare a challenge. He can't get out of base to base, so I can't remember if he accepted with his champion or with his butcher. His butcher had toughness 5, so it might have been better. I don't remember which one he did, but anyway, in the challenge, I ended up landing 3 wounds. They multiplied to, I think, 6, so it was 1 and 5 overkill, or... oh, I guess it was 5 based on the graphic here. And killed the guy outright, broke him, ran him down, went off the board. And that, my friends, is the game. It was a fantastically fun game. I'm pretty sure luck won this game, not any skill on my own. But it was really fun to play the Dark Elves. A couple of great times. It was fun to pick up all those dice. Playing vampires and everything. If you don't have magic supporting you don't get rerolls. Just always getting rerolls is amazing. Murderous Prowess comes up like all the time. It's fantastic. And those Doomfire Warlocks are just freaking deadly in combat and as casters. Totally, totally fun. And I feel like there's a ton of stuff in the book. Like, I'm ready to keep mixing stuff in. There's tons of other units I want to try in different builds. MSU, this and that. There's a couple things I changed about the list, like not making the Master a BSB. That had like no benefit. So I would just have him flying around and put a BSB in with the Witches or something like that. Although it does, I guess in this build I would have had to put it on the Hag, who was on the Cauldron of Blood. That might have made it a bigger target. Like, I definitely got lucky by him not shooting that thing with cannons. Anyway, it was a really fun game. I hope to get another one in pretty soon. I don't really have a way to link my painting log in here, but I think if you go to my page, my YouTube page, there's a link to my Vampire Accounts painting blog where I try to put up pictures of as I'm painting the force. So you can see some up-close pictures of like the Cauldron of Blood, and I'll keep putting stuff up there. Plus, if you like Vampire Accounts, that's one of the best Warhammer forums, in my opinion, on the internet. A lot of really good guys there. You can chat about lots of stuff other than just Vampire Accounts. So that's why it's kind of my home base. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we're going to chalk up that win number 2 with the Dark Elves. Talk to you later.